Hi everyone, we have been looking through the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell, and today's law is the law of victory. Before we get started, let's start with a question. Can you think of a time when a leader's determination made the difference between success and failure? When we look back at history, we all can look at many leaders we admire today because of their determination then. They strongly believed success is possible and they refused to believe that victory is out of their sight. And because they strongly believed that, victory was attainable. So today's law is the law of victory. And the law states that the leaders find ways for the team to win. Even though everything looks bleak and dark and the odds of success is so slim, the leader refuses to believe that victory is out of reach. They strongly believe that victory is possible, and because they believe strongly that victory is possible, they go on to win the war. The leader who exemplifies the law of victory is Winston Churchill. We know that he was probably the lone critic during the 1930s, and he kept bringing this issue to the House of Commons, asking them to get prepared for war, because let's not take Hitler as an ordinary man. He's going to one day come and invade, and no one takes him seriously. And in 1939, when Hitler invades Poland, that's when they all understand that Hitler could do such things, and now they are concerned about the Second World War. And that's when Prime Minister Winston Churchill takes office. And the moment he takes office, actually, pretty much every country in Europe is being invaded by the Germans. And things don't look very promising to England. But Winston Churchill was so determined that he will never give in to Hitler. And because of his determination, he was trying to look at ways to win the war. He made allies with the Soviets, even though he didn't like Stalin, because he knew he needed people to fight the war. He also was constantly writing to Theodore Roosevelt, inviting him to see the situation in England and around in Europe. And he wanted him to take Nazis seriously. So he did everything in his power to get people to buy into his idea, and he strongly believed Nazis were morally wrong, and he really believed that he and his country will never succumb to their pressures. And sure enough, today we know with the help of Theodore Roosevelt, Churchill and with Theodore Roosevelt and Russia, they all sort of allied, and they were able to defeat the Nazis. And this is one of my favorite quotes by Winston Churchill. It's in the book too. You ask, what is our aim? And I can answer in one word: victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory, however long and hard the road may be. For without victory, there is no survival. There are three components of the law of victory that the book talks about. One is unity of vision, diversity of skills, and a leader's dedication to victory. So let's look at the unity of vision. No matter what, if your team is not unified on the vision, your odds of taking them to success is slim. It's almost impossible. Your team could be talented, your team could have high potential, they could be really skilled. All that doesn't matter when if they are not unified on their vision. If they have a unified vision, it is possible to take them to success. But when they don't, it is impossible to take them to success. So the number one thing you need is unity of vision. The second thing you need is diversity of skills. Every organization requires a diverse talents to succeed. So think about a human body. The hand cannot do what the feet can do, the eyes cannot do what the mouth can do, and together it works in unison to help the body functioning, and we are able to work well because of that. Similarly, in a team, you need diverse talents, and they all come together to help this common vision for to succeed. When you have think of a football game, let's assume there are a lot of people who have got the quarterback skills. What are you going to do with that team? You want people who are able to run, who are able to defend. So you need those type of skill set for a football team. Similarly, whatever team you have, look for your team's strengths, their weaknesses. If there are any gaps, fill it. Because often when we are leaders, we often look for people who are very similar to us. But the problem is our own blind spot would be their blind spot, our weakness would be their weakness. And because of that, we cannot really function well as one unit and succeed. So diverse talent is mandatory. The next thing also need is you need a great team with a diverse talent and all working in unison towards a vision. And you also need a great leader. If you don't have a leader who can bring them together and who could help them to win and succeed and motivate them and empower them, then the team cannot really win. So you need a great team who understands the vision clearly, who are very clear with their skill sets and how they contribute to the win of the team. You also need a great leader who could bring the team together and motivate them and empower them. Applying the law of victory in our lives. One of the most important thing that we as leaders should do is take responsibility for the team's success. If the team is succeeding, we need to take responsibility, and if the team is failing, we need to be taking responsibility for that as well. We need to be committed and be dedicated to the cause of our mission, and that is very important to be as a leader. And the next thing that you also need is just the skills necessary. Are you aware of the skills necessary for your goal? And if you are aware of it, look around and see if your team has all the skills that you need for that particular goal. And if you don't find it, fill those gaps. The third thing that you have to do is you need to constantly be clear about the vision and the mission of that particular thing that you're acting on. So if the team is not clear about the vision, they probably would be running with no clear direction. And because of that, the odds of succeeding are not in our favor. So take responsibility, watch for gaps in your team, be clear about what skills you need for that particular goal to be achieved, and look for gaps if there are any and fill in the gaps. And also be clear in articulating the vision to your team so the team can understand and act on it clearly. So does this mean that a leader who understands the law of victory never fails? That's not the case. A leader who practices this law doesn't mean that they always win. They fail as well. But the thing is, when they are slayed by the giant, they don't camp in that state. They rise up quickly, they learn from their mistakes, and they again stand firm with much more greater determination and face the challenges that is in front of them. So the difference between a leader who understands the law of victory is not that they don't fail. It's that they are willing to rise up. They are willing to understand. They are willing to learn from their mistakes and face their challenges one more time. And they never give in. I believe it is Churchill who said success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So these people, the leaders who understand the law of victory, go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm, and they eventually do succeed. I would like to end with a question. How dedicated are you to helping your team win? Are you relentless in finding ways to win? Or when challenges and crisis occurs, you're succumbing to it? Because when you stand firm and you are determined to find ways to win, your team watches you and they start believing in you. And because of that, they also start finding ways to win. And so you, as a leader, dictate the tone for your team's success. So your determination would get passed on to them. And when you think you want to quit and you are not too sure, that gets passed on to them as well. Next week, we are going to be talking about the law of Big Mo. I hope you would join me there. Thank you.